Hello, I'm Andrew Dyer, and welcome to another edition of the Roundball Report, the only show in the area dedicated to highlighting the excellence of the high school, college, and professional basketball teams which play in the Washington metropolitan area. And here with me again is my co-host, former Sidwell Friends and Duke University star, Janee Hayes. Janee, we've been off for a while, but we're back.
We are. I'm glad to be back.
And speaking about being off for a while, the Mystics were off for a while out of the playoffs, but they're back.
They absolutely are, and they've jumped up into that number 3 spot, bumped Indiana down to number 4, and they're off to face Atlanta in the first round.
And we'll talk about that in a little more detail later on, Janee, but we got two very interesting and informative guests. They're going to talk about some exciting shows they have on radio and internet TV for the viewers to get exposed to.
Yeah, well, we're joined in studio today by Roland Grimes of the Roland Grimes Sports and Entertainment Show, and we're also joined by Miss Morgyn of the Skybox Report. And welcome, you guys. We love having you guys here. And you know, with these wonderful personalities that I've been privy to for the last 30 minutes, I would love to hear about your show, Roland, and then your show too, Miss Morgyn.
Thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to be a gentleman, and I'm going to defer the intro to Miss Morgyn.
Oh, ladies first. Well, my show is called the Skybox Report. Sweet Sports and Entertainment, sweet spelled, you know, like the sweet at the Skybox.
Okay.
And it airs on WOL at 7 p.m. on Saturdays, each and every Saturday at 7 p.m. on WOL. That's Radio 1 station, and it's sports and entertainment. So I pretty much open the show with recapping all the week's headlines, and I do features, interviews, and right now, real football analysis, because and then some NASCAR because the chase is on. 13 drivers this year, but it's a Roundball Report.
Sports is sports.
Okay. And and then I just have I create that Skybox atmosphere via the radio, and sometimes I'll get guests on, and I'm like, okay, so what you drinking, and what's on your plate in the Skybox, and so yeah, it's just fun. It takes away that seriousness sometimes and makes it just
The lighter sides of sports.
Of sports. Yeah, gotta have some fun.
And Roland.
So we decided that we were going to make a little left right here. And instead of just doing sports, instead of just doing sports and entertainment, we actually define the show as the not just sports and entertainment show. We cover sports, entertainment, business, education, and health. So when you look at our programs online, RolandGrimesShow.com, you'll see a plethora of shows.
Plethora.
Basically, within 1 year, we shot 100 shows, 100 segments of the show. And we had authors, chefs. We had the head football coach, University of Maryland, Randy Edsel.
Okay.
But we've also entertained people like JoJo Hunter, Reggie Williams, from your basketball scene here. And but as well, we had the opportunity to talk to different people throughout the community who have compelling stories, and whether they wrote a book or whether they're investing something in the community, business consultants, fashion consultants. So we give people an opportunity to see folks who've been in sports talk about things beyond the norm of sports. Puts a nice little slant to it.
And Roland, of course, you and I were reminiscing in the background, but tell the viewers out there about your background, which led you to the point of trying to bring this vision to reality.
Super, thanks for asking. First off, I went to Syracuse University, which is the top media, excuse me, Mr.
No
Duke,
doubt.
but it is considered to be the top media and communication school in the country. So even though I did not go through Newhouse School of Communications, Newhouse School of Communications went through me.
How about that?
So what happens when you look at the lineup of a Mike Tirico, Darryl Moose Johnson, Dick Clark, Susan DePaz from Motown, these were all Syracuse folks, Vanessa Williams. So it's not anything that we're nervous about. So I was in education, and somehow I had to figure out to make that transition from education into media. And the best way to do it was to start my own. So went out and made the investment necessary to get the production equipment, set things up, set up the websites, and then go through that learning curve that you always go through whenever you do something new, and then try to become the the male version of Oprah. I know. Good luck with that, right?
Nice.
Hey.
Now, Morgyn, how did you get into communication? I understand that was your main, or that's what you were in grad school for. But what prompted that interest in, covering anything media related or sports, entertainment, everything that you cover? What prompted that interest? Were you an athlete, or did you just love sports, or love being engaged, or love the ambiance of it?
I grew up, my dad pushed me through sports, from tennis to soccer to football to baseball, all of that. And I also was very much into music. Now, I had that battle growing up, and I had to make a choice. And when I came out of high school, I decided to go to school to study broadcast. So I was like, all right, well, music, this is like a different kind of way I can mess around with it. Ironically enough, when I went to Morgan, because I was Morgan State, when I went to Morgan, I was there as a cheerleader, got a scholarship there as a cheerleader.
There's no shame in that. Get it out there.
Free school is free school.
Yeah, books and everything. Yes, thank you.
Tell her, Roland, we like cheerleaders. Go ahead, Morgyn.
I knew I wasn't going to have the time to be an intense music student there as an athlete. So my junior year there, I got injured, and I was like, I have to stay with the team. Like, I have to figure this out. All the while I'm taking this coursework, doing a lot of production behind the scenes at Morgan's radio station. And I said, you guys have a sports show? And of course they did the games, they did play-by-play in color and things for the games. And I'm like, so do you have a pre-game show or halftime show, post-game show? Anything that I can get involved in, anything that I can help with, write scripts for, voice, anything. And we worked something out, and that's how I got started. And ever since then, I still kind of have that battle between music and sports, but when I tell you sports has taken over, and I love it.
That sounds awesome. And we're going to let you guys show your perspectives. Now, we told them about your shows, and we'll let you put your analyst hat on in a little while. But first, talking about sports, we're going to give you some insight. The Washington Mystics, after having one of their worst years in franchise history, have had a major turnaround this year and have actually clinched the 3rd seed in the WNBA's Eastern Conference. And we have a quick feature right now from Nikki Lewis, shot by our good buddy Eric Strand, about the Mystics. So check it out.
Hosting the New York Liberty today at home before moving into the playoffs.
Well, we'll take them however they come. A little bit sloppy, but we'll take it. Looks like we have a chance to tie for second, even though we'll be the 3rd seed, considering where we were at the start and where we were a month ago. Being back to 500 and being in this position feels good. Now we have a new season to start. The game itself tonight, I don't know, both teams I think had a pact between them without telling the coaches on missing layups or something, but there were a lot of missed ones. But we did so many other things, well, and we moved the ball and didn't turn it over. That was a big thing tonight, and we got a lot of people involved, in the game.
Taylor really struggled at the start of this year. Whether it was adapted to the WNBA, whatever. What do you think's gotten her in rhythm here towards the end of the season?
I think it's a combination of things. Number one, she stopped putting as much pressure on herself as she did at the start of the year, being one of the top rookies. I think she felt like she had to live up being the 4th pick, and we kept trying to tell her, you just have to fit in. I think that's the first thing. Second, I think that she's put in the extra time with Eric after practice and before practice, getting a lot of repetitions, learning how to shoot at game speed. I think that sometimes when you come in this league, you don't know how fast the game is played and what level it's played, and so you practice a certain way and you find out that doesn't work in the game. And she's learned to shoot the ball at game pace in her drills. The third thing I think is she's learned the league, and it's helped her get some confidence, knowing you just don't shoot jump shots. You learn to drive a little bit more, and the threat of her being able to drive has helped her outside shot, I think, the last couple weeks, because she's been able to, even on nights she hasn't had a great shooting percentage, she's gotten to the free throw line and got fouled and done other things, and I think that's been a big confidence booster for her.
Washington Mystics close out a 17-17 season at home versus the New York Liberty with a 70-52 win. Here come the playoffs. Back to you guys at the studio.
Great job, Nikki. And, you know, we want you guys to switch to your analyst hats for right now. You look at a team like the Mystics, and like Andrew said, they're coming off their worst season and they've had a turnaround. Well, they've had a new coach. A new coach came in and they brought in a couple new players. Right. Do you think that that has changed the psyche of the team? Do you think that a coach and maybe a couple new players totally changes a franchise around like that?
Basketball, it can.
Well, historically, in almost any sport, I mean, if you look at when Phrygian first came into Maryland, I think they were 2-9 the year before, and he went maybe, 10-2 his first year. So sometimes any culture change can have a positive impact because it is a change. And what happens with that psyche, like you said, it gets motivated, enthusiastic because of it, and you get those kind of results.
While the results have gotten better on the court, Morgan, as you can see by the background, they haven't necessarily gotten better in the stands.
Don't
why don't you share some of your perspective on how you think they can improve that? I mean, a lady wanted to see more love for the women's game.
I do want to see more love for the women's game. I hate to say it, but I just think that they should market themselves just a little bit better. Unfortunately, sex sells. And if those girls have great bodies, they're amazing athletes. So if they can just market themselves just a little bit better, then I think it would go further. Not only that, they could just, pick up and change the season and give us, a double feature. Women's games first, and then watching the Wizards after. I mean, that could do it. I mean, we did it in high school, we did it in college, so,
Yeah. It's interesting, but there is, and Ed is one of the original Mystics fans, and he's lived through the era when they were 3-27, but led the league in attendance, and now they've got they're winning. But going back to what Coach Thibault has done, the fan base that they have is loyal. It doesn't look like it's a lot, but it's loyal, and it is been a major sea change in terms of the shift. Because I have a daughter that's playing basketball. It's like now they have a dream to play in the States after college, as opposed to just having to go overseas as an option.
Right. I think that first off is they say markets like Washington, D.C. it's difficult for certain programs, teams to capture an audience because we have so many different options. I don't disagree with what you're saying about marketing. Whatever it is, it has to have some kind of impact to draw people in, make them decide to come, especially in the late fall, winter months when they have to get dressed, put on a parka and come outside, get there, find a place to park, watch a game. It's more than a notion. It's not just like driving over to the high school game. You actually have to prepare yourself to go to a pro game because you have different things that you have to do just to get into the door.
Well, the Mystics have gotten into the door. They've made the playoffs. We're going to follow their path to see if they can actually make it as far than they have in history.